give God praise for this day. We thank Him for being the King of glory, Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle. So this morning we want to talk about Jesus' peace. When was the last time that you spoke to someone about peace? You had a conversation about peace. Can anybody remember? Probably not, because it's not a subject that you typically would think to talk about. Peace. But although not talked about a lot in daily conversation, it's something that we all seek. We need and we want peace. Lots of it. And because we don't directly talk about it, it's an indication that we're experiencing some level of peace, or we become numb to what we're experiencing and giving up hope. Is the peace that we're experiencing enough? There's a way to understand that, to determine that. We will get into that later in the study. But one thing is for sure. In order to survive in this life, we must have peace. Peace is essential to consistently thrive in life. To understand this topic of peace, let's look at what peace means. And peace is our Bible spelling word for the study. Webster defines the word peace as a state of tranquility or quiet. The second definition given for this word, peace, is freedom from disquieting or oppressive thoughts or emotion. Our third definition for the word peace is harmony in personal relations. All of these definitions, this word peace, is what we're going to explore today, because they are all components that play into this idea of peace in a person's life. They're different dimensions touching different aspects of a person's life, but they all speak to the notion of peace. So you may not talk about the word peace itself, but these different dimensions that we're going to be exploring today in this definition, you do talk about those things. You experience those things on a daily basis. The final definition for the word peace is a pact or agreement to end hostility between those who have been at war or in a state of enmity. You see that happen when people have been in a major war. They've been locked in a major war for some period of time. Then all of a sudden the two of the warring factions put together what is considered to be what you heard known as peace agreement. You may have heard those terms used at some point in time in your lifetime. But a peace agreement is a pact. It's a pact to end a certain kind of hostilities that are going on between factions, between organizations, between groups that are warring. It could be it could be governments, it could be countries, but it also can be gangs, can't it? It also could be businesses. Two businesses could be warring against one another in an ad campaign. But then they can come to a point and decide that they're going to create a pact to end the hostilities by not letting it go too far. These are all forms of peace. These are human attempts to provide peace. And yet we still need more peace. Although this peace is important, we need more peace in our lives, because there's so much that happens as a result of not having peace. There's so much that happens as the chain reaction for not having a tranquil or quiet environment. There's so much that goes on until we might not acknowledge it as being peace. And today, prayerfully, I will increase your awareness of the importance of peace in your life and how it quietly provides a stabilizing component or building block in your life for which you to build upon. And the Bible verse comes out of the book of St. John, the 14th chapter. Now, mind you, what I'm about to share with you was being stated in the midst of what was considered to be some level of peace that was being offered in the community before these words were spoken. There was an assumption that some level of peace was being offered to the people who were living in that community, in that region, in that area. Yet, these words needed to be spoken because the peace that was being offered to the people in that area, in that city, in that region was not enough. It was falling short of the needs of the individual people. Although mankind was making an attempt to provide peace before these words were spoken, still there was a need to speak these words because people were not experiencing enough peace. So these assurances were given by the Lord. The Lord sent his son Jesus. And Jesus gave these assurances of peace. St. John 14:26, the Bible declares unto us, "But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid." Our Bible verse comes out of the book of St. John, the 14th chapter, verse 26 and 27. And here, when you read the word, the Bible is declaring unto us a message. This is Jesus Christ speaking. And this is Jesus Christ sharing a message about something that is needed in the community. And that something that is needed is being offered to anyone who would choose to acknowledge him. And that is peace. Jesus is promising anybody who would choose to acknowledge him that the Lord, his Father, would give them this peace. Then this peace would come to them if they would choose to acknowledge him, they would choose to follow his teachings, that they would receive this additional peace. And Jesus was very clear to make it known that this peace is not the peace that the world is offering to you. So what we talked about in the definition of peace being a pact or an agreement to end hostilities between warring states, or a state or a period of mutual concord between governments, although governing bodies in a society can come to agreements like that to provide people with a certain level of peace, it's still not enough. That's why Jesus says here, the peace that the Lord will provide by way of the Holy Ghost is a level of peace that's not the same as what the world is providing. That's what we want to delve in today to understand. It's the additional peace that people need, that a society, that a government does not provide, that a governing organization does not provide. Because Although governing organizations provide many things in the name of peace, governing organizations do not provide the things that are essential for a person to have the peace necessary in their lives to thrive. And that still holds true to this very day. It is held true throughout man's existence that governing bodies, whoever has been in charge of a group of people or a dynasty or a period in which a ruling entity was in charge, they provided what they considered to be the peace at a certain level. But the peace that individuals needed is a greater level of peace over and above what the governing faction was able to provide. And that's the very point that Jesus is making. Not as the world provides unto you, not as the world giveth, but the way that I am giving this to you. Which meaning that there is more peace that people need in order for them to thrive in life.
Oh, praise be to God, from whom all blessings flow. It is our prayer at Clay Family Ministries that your life has been increased with the increase of God through this study. We appreciate and are thankful for your fellowship during this life skills study segment.